5 months ago, I posted a question on my community tab. I asked you guys, how much are you prepared to spend on a micro-brand watch? And over 2,000 people voted on that post. And the majority of the votes, 43% of you guys said between $500 and $1,000. Now, I've been waiting for the release of these watches for around 3 years now. You see, 3 years ago, a local Aussie guy decided to start up his own micro-brand, and he came into the market with a really well spec'd out diver, a Swiss movement, quality finishing, and a fantastic price. And that watch was a second hour gin clear. In fact, I've still got mine here. Now, ever since its release and consequently being sold out, many of us have been anticipating the release of the Mark II. And now that it's here, does it live up to its expectations? Or does it actually exceed them? Let's check it out. Now, there are many micro-brands out there. In fact, you could say that the market is flooded, but there's really only a handful that stand out above the rest. There's even less that are able to offer high quality finishing at a real decent price point. And this new Gin Clear Mark II seems to have knocked both those categories out of the park. It's pretty impressive. Now, you saw the pop-up. Second Hour has sponsored this video, so I'll leave all the appropriate links in the description section so you can check them out. On first impressions, it seems that he's taken the original model, refined it, and elevated it up to 11. And if we have a close look at the dimensions of the watch, the actual case comes in at 40mm, whereas that bezel comes in at 41, which makes it real easy in its usage and its presence on the wrist. That case height I measured exactly 12.2, and being a 300-meter diver, that's a real joy on the wrist. Now, this is a 41mm footprint. And on my 18cm wrist, as you can see, it is sitting beautifully. That small lug-to-lug of 47mm, there's absolutely no overhang, and I can see that this watch is designed to cater for a vast variety of wrists. But the real hero is that height. I measure 12.2mm. That has been such a joy on the wrist throughout the week. And the comfort on this bracelet, with that on-the-fly micro-adjustability, has also aided in a pleasurable experience both night and day. Taking a closer look at that bracelet, the finishing is superb. As you can see, great articulation, it drops straight down. You've got screw pins as well as that on-the-fly micro adjustability. I think the finishing and the execution is done really well. Now, sometimes when we read the specs on a website, I look at this dial, and for the dial it says gloss and sunray finish, highest grade dials available. And that's probably one of the first things that caught my attention when I saw these watches in the hand. Those dials seem to be supremely finished. There's several colorways of this watch. I've got the black one here and the orange one. You can see the step up in quality when you look at a watch's dial, when you've got something like this in the hand. You've got beautifully matched color date wheels, the execution, the printing, the quality seems to be done at an extremely high level. In fact, wearing these watches throughout the week, I liken them to Christopher Ward. The quality is right up there. I've actually struggled to find faults, technical faults on these timepieces, but we'll get to that. Now, if I turn the watch over, you can see there's a solid case back with an all pressed embossed turtle image. Once again, the execution is really well finished. And that hawksbill turtle follows the theme from the original Gin Clear as well, which is good to see. And hiding behind that solid case back, we've got a regulated Swiss ETA 2824 movement. And throughout the week, both these watches have not skipped a beat. They've been rock solid, super accurate, again in that department top marks. Now, if I turn my attention to the bezel, you can see that I've got a thumb that's highly bruised. I actually was doing some work at home and I hit that with a hammer. I won't tell you the amount of pain that I'm in. But, moving on, that bezel is a 120-click unidirectional bezel. It's got a ceramic loom-filled insert, and the action on these watches are superb. Have a listen to this. It's a nice, clean, toolish experience. There's hardly any backplay. There's a really nice positive feel to this, and it lines up absolutely perfect. Now, I did mention that bezel is loom-filled as well as that handset and indices. and they feature Swiss BGW9 Superluminova. And just like the original, the lume is superb. Peter from Second Hour seems to have done his homework. If you like lume on dive watches, you're going to love this. Now lastly, before I get onto any gripes that I found on these watches, the crystal that comes on this watch is a flat sapphire with 6 layers of AR coating on the underside. The original Gin Clear came with a single dome, and that was one of my gripes. It did pick up reflections as well as quite a bit of distortion. With these new crystals, this model seems to have cured that problem, but not only that, the legibility, the clarity is superb. Lastly, the watches feature 300 metres of water resistance and come in at a price of 1,250 Australian dollars, roughly 800 USD. And on that note, what are my gripes of these watches? Well, in wearing these watches all week and observing them from sunrise to sunset, there's really only been 1 or 2 small niggles that I've come across. And if you want to use aftermarket straps on these watches, you might have to consider curved spring bars, because the gap between the actual case and the spring bar is very fine. It's 20mm, it's standard length, but you've got a curved case, so you might struggle to get aftermarket straps. But even in saying that, the quality and adjustability of this bracelet with the on-the-fly feature makes it a no-brainer. So there's not really much to complain about here. And that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, technically I've struggled to find any other faults on this piece apart from high praise. It's thin, it's beautifully sized with its 40mm case and 41mm bezel. It wears extremely well with its short lug to lug, and that regulator ETA 2892 hasn't missed a beat all week. So, am I missing something? I don't know. Maybe the price. Coming in at 1,250 AUD, which is again 800 US dollars, I think it's priced well below what I'm actually feeling and experiencing in the hand. So when I see this new iteration of Second Hour's Gin Clear Mark II, I think it's being able to take a really good watch from its inception and spend some time to refine it, to change it in certain areas while still maintaining its identity, especially with its unique design language, looking at their running theme with the 12, 4 and 8 o'clock indexes. I think the original Gin Clear was always a capable tool watch from its inception, and now this new model seems to have elevated it into an even more luxury watch status while still maintaining its toolish origins, especially when you consider the watches actually feature 1200 figures surface hardening. If you're looking for an extremely well-made, well-finished and refined 300-meter diver that's not going to break the bank, I think in the world of micro brands, this is a real serious piece to consider. Thanks for watching, be well, and we'll see you in the next one.